about S and P blocks, Lewis dots supported by valence electrons, and valence electrons supported by S and P notation. Let's talk about noble gas notation. So this is the more formal version. This is representing all of the electrons in an element. So if you know that there are 7 rows in a periodic table, and we label them 1 through 7 because that represents the 7 orbitals or 7 valence shells available to these electrons. So you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, for our purposes, we are not, again, going to worry about the D block, but we are going to look at how we look at the S and P block. So when we're talking about noble gas notation, as talked about, that is referencing a noble gas. So we have to talk about how you're going to reference those. So they are in brackets. So helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon are the big ones that we're going to talk about. And how it works is this. You cannot have a noble gas configuration for row 1 because there's no noble gas to reference. So we do start with row 2. And here's what noble gas configuration means. It goes, okay, we can recognize, we understand that, boom, all the way through this noble gas, all the orbitals are filled. So it's saying, okay, I'm going to represent all the electrons up to 10 or 18 or 36 or 54 through a noble gas. So you're only representing the electrons in the outer orbital. That is what that is representing. So when we're looking at, say, lithium, which is right here, you start with the noble gas in the row above. So that would be helium. So you do He. It's in row 2, and then it's at S1. So it's He2S1. If we're looking at beryllium, it's still He, because we're saying, okay, everything is filled up to He, and then you're going below it. So it's He. Then it's 2S2. And these are supposed to be on the same line, but my periodic table is very small. I apologize. Then we're going to go on to boron to show you what that would look like. So it's, again, still He. So it's He. 2S2, but you got to represent the full amount of electrons. Remember, we were doing the S and the P bonding before putting them together. It's the same thing. We're just putting the row number in front. So it's 2S2, P1. This would be helium 2S2, P2, helium 2S2, P3, helium 2S2, P4, helium 2S2, P5, helium 2S2, P6. A very important thing to note is that a noble gas cannot reference itself. So the noble gas notation for, say, neon here cannot be neon. You still have to represent the one in the orbital above. So the row with neon, so row 2 references the noble gas from row 1. Row 3 references the noble gas from row 2. Row 4 represents the noble gas from row 3. Row 5 references the noble gas from row 4. And row 6 references the noble gas from row 5. Now, for middle school chem, you are responsible for the noble gas notations for column 2 all the way through and everything in the S block. But we start talking about the P block over here. It gets slightly tricky. because of the D block going back. So we could do technically rows 1, 2, and 3, but just for clarity, we go up 1 through 20, and then we stop having to do the noble gas notation. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a great day.